you deal with that situation?
So the question was, so for the audience, the question was, what do you do with information you read on Bloomberg? How do you compare it with partners such as fake videos and any other ways? And from my understanding, you're in a position where you strongly disagree or have some personal opinion against the motion. What do you do and how do you deal with that?
Very quickly on the first, I actually found it easier to, I think the most useful coaching for the tournament was just doing a series of 15-minute preps. Just get used to working together under intense time conditions and doing exactly what Josh shared, which is doing the division of labour, where one of you focuses on facts and getting the content down, and the other one focuses on the chess. And actually doing that over and over again, I found quite time efficient. Second of all, dealing with emotion that you don't necessarily agree with. I mean, look, we've all got a job to do. We sort of, that's the occupational hazard of debating. I think one of the benefits of debating is that you begin to at least have some sort of empathy with some positions that may not be your own. And actually, the more you read, and hopefully if you use the Bloombergs, if you use various sources of information, you come across various opinions. And what we're doing as debate cycling is almost like theatre. We're pretending to an audience that we care about something passionately, so passionately it's trying to persuade the public. And that's being an actor. I think if you approach debating with that mentality that you're an actor and actress, putting on a performance, I think it becomes easier for you to, in many ways, defend things you may not personally believe in, which we've all done time and time again. I think one of my rounds of Worlds was arguing against gay adoption, which to me just sounded quite counterintuitive, silly. Great motion, but a difficult side to argue. We were against gay adoption. And you just have to sort of remember that what you're doing is a game, it's activity, it's sport, and it's part and parcel of what we do.
So on the first question, how to utilize Africa. So what I would advise is, for me, I think one of the best things I did was compiling a matter file, which I then did not really want to strike roles. And the reason that was important is that once you compile the matter, you go through all of it, and you go through the process of writing it all down and compiling it, you actually absorb a lot of it. It's often quite cumbersome, I think, to open up several hundred-page matter file during a 15-minute prep time. And I think the reality is that what's more important is going through the process of creating it rather than using it every single time. And so for me, I think going through that process was incredibly valuable. I think Lewis is also definitely right that practicing that and getting in the habit of the division of labor as well as understanding how to do it and wanting to realize it's 15 minutes, whether it's a lot of time thinking independently and in a small amount of time bringing it all together, or in these 15 minutes of collaboration, discovering which setup is optimal for you and your partner based on how you best think and how you best work together is incredibly important. In terms of the second, I think there are two ways to think about this. The first is that debate is a game at the end of the day. It is just an application of value, and sometimes you have to argue against in favor of things that you then fervently disagree. And that in order to succeed in this activity, which we all want to do, that is something that you have to wrap your head around, which is not just important for debate, it's actually a skill that transcends debate and is something that's incredibly valuable in terms of your ability to empathize with others in the wider world and to understand that there are good reasons for people to do the thing that you do. But I also think it's smart to take it as an opportunity. I found very often that I actually did a better job of making cases for things I didn't believe in because it entirely prevents you from relying on your own intuitions. Right? If you don't believe something, there's no ability to skip the logical steps because you have to be methodical about everything you say. Because there is no reason for you to believe it intuitively. Right? You've got to make sure you have it right. Because if it's so hard for you to do it, then you have to go to every length possible to make it believable to someone else. So I would take that as an opportunity to really dig deep on the logic and actually understand what's going on the other side.
Great, so it's like that question is answered. I think we're going back, to a very common theme of communication and and really working with your partner. That emphasizes how it's no team is a one-man show. It's really a team play, and it heavily relies on being able to communicate with each other, understanding the way you think. But I think more importantly, being each other, not just support, but I think checking balance as well. And being able to, for instance, if one of the partners is uncomfortable with emotion, the other I think works with them through it. We have a question on the right. We take one or two more questions and then we'll have to wrap up. Okay, we've got one there. Does anybody else have a question? Great, so that's three. 1, 2, 3. Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone. My question is, what is the most potent way to craft and employ points of information throughout the debate? I want to hear the opinions of the three gentlemen as well. Thank you.
So I think that the way that I think about it is that there are sort of two strategies that we use. The first is to provide sort of very poignant or very relevant counterexample, and sort of force a team to contextualize their argument in the context of a contrasting example, which I think is very difficult and is a great matrix of that. And the second is to pull out an implicit assumption that they make that they kind of gloss over and try to sort of sweep under the rug, pull it out and very obviously flag it for the judge and for the entire debate and say, your argument relies on this, that you did not, please explain it to us now. Which I think works because A, it often takes them by surprise, and B, if they have tried to avoid spending time on it, it probably means they don't have a great reason for it and didn't want to spend time on it. And so forcing them to do that in a very upfront way is again a great way to reduce its argument in terms of how persuasive it is.
Yeah, completely agree. I mean, I would also add, one, I think it's quite useful to think about points of information, and this comes back to prep time. If you're good at prep time, you should be thinking about things like points of information, because if you're thinking about what the other side are going to do, and strategically what they need to do to win a debate, points of information should be part of the weaponry in trying to stop them from achieving that strategy. So if you prep them in advance, I think your points of information will be better. Two, I find it quite useful to have a sheet of paper verbatim with the points of information that I want to deliver or my partner wants to deliver. And as a rule, we will decide what points of information we're going to deliver next, and we're not allowed to deviate from that. So we'll have a list of points of information which will move up and down in priority depending on what issues are important at a given time, or whether or not we want to move the debate in a different direction. And we will literally read that out verbatim. Because I think, I completely agree with the question. I think it's not just the touch POI give, it's the way in which you deliver it, which gives it its power and significance. So the less words you use, the more the clearer your POI, the type of language you put into your POI are all important. That's why it's worthwhile, especially the bits. There's a bit, just when a speaker is wrapping up, and when the chair calls the next speaker to take the floor, where you and your partner can literally talk about POIs and finalise how you're going to express that POI. And that should be a constant thing going on through the debate.
So I think the consensus is they're really tools of redirecting the debate in terms of how you want the judge to really see the context of characterization.
Especially the top half, especially personally, I'm both people, all people who like the sound of our own voices. Especially if you're in the top half and the bottom half having a bit of a party, you haven't been heard from for a long time. It's even more important that that POI is crafted well and it lands and it's impacted and does all the things that Josh mentioned. So I think in the top half especially, it's important for you to remain relevant in the debate by offering great POIs.
Great. We have a question to the right, and then we have one more back.
How do you cleverly go away from a bad paradigm that is set by an opening half without totally evading the argument?
So how to depart from the context of that?
Yeah, so I think there is one dominant strategy in this situation, and I think there are several, maybe ones that are more contextual and the ones that are more set. The best way to do this, in my view, is to make what I would term an even if argument, and to say, even if but our opening set is true, we can also win the debate for these other reasons that are separate, right? And so you essentially bracket it off into two conditional arguments, and instead of adding to what they have said, you branch off the debate into a new strain of argumentation, and it basically allows yourself to bracket what they said as separate from the debate that you would like to have. And the reason that I think that works so well is that you never have to explicitly contradict them, right? You just say, by the way, whether or not what they're saying is right, you can take a stance on it, and then you like to go in a different direction. Other than that, which I think is probably the thing to do in most cases, I think if you're in a situation like we heard about in the briefing, where an opening half comes a position that you sort of find flagrantly in violation of your principle, of reasonable principles, or so far beyond the pale where you feel comfortable saying that you feel compelled to go in a different direction. I think probably you want to spend as little time as possible working on that fact, sort of flag it up front as an observation that you're going to do something a bit different because you didn't feel comfortable with it, and then have the debate as such as you would like it to be. I think that when teams get into real trouble is when there's not a clear reason for why they are taking a different path, right? If it seems very reasonable in the front half, it's unclear why the second half would want to do that. So I think be clear up front and don't spend too much time on it, because you don't want to make it the centerpiece of your bench that there are two different advocacies. You want to make it something that is an unfortunate reality and something no one is willing to.
Yeah, no, which is that's exactly why. I mean, you want to mentally move on and focus on the good material that you have. I think that even if it's a really good advice.
So I think really just be good at justifying why you should report to the context. The last question, the gentleman in the back. The one in gray shirt turning around, someone pass the microphone. Does anybody have any more questions for that? Yeah, there, he raised his hand right there.
So, the analysis of our arguments rely on certain unquestionable statements or principles. The analysis of our arguments rely on certain principles which we don't necessarily justify. Say, we should say lies. So, when we analyze an argument, when do we claim that, okay, I have analyzed it fully and I don't have to justify it any further?
That's a very good question. The unsatisfactory answer is it depends. I think a lot of debating comes down to gut feeling and judgment calls you make in debates, and it's why putting together a book or having an all-encompassing rule of thumb is difficult, because and this is why the mental state that we're in, how much preparation you do is really important, because a lot of debating comes down to snap decisions like how far we analyze this argument. Some arguments are, some premises are quite self-evident, I think, and it's a judgment call. So, not to put my neck on the line and say which ones are or not, maybe we can have that conversation later, but I think you can judge in a debate what you need to explain and what you need to work on. And I think that is just basically a judgment call depending on the motion. I think it is, for example, a given that gender equality is a good thing. I think, I personally think you can just say that and move on. I think other things may be a bit tougher. So I can't give you an answer, because I think it really does depend on a debate by debate basis on what the context is, what the motion is, what's really going on in the debate.
Yeah, so I think it's certainly true that there is a set of first principle beliefs for which there are not readily explicable justifications. So things like it is good to save lives, equality is a good thing. A larger GDP is probably better than small, absent being weighed against something else, which is, I guess, how I would think about when you need to make those decisions and when you need to justify your assumptions. The case where you can kind of get away with just giving a first principle assumption for what is important in a debate is when the other side agrees, right? When you are both arguing in favor of the same end, but just making arguments about why you you need to spend the time to say, one, why is my first principle belief more justifiable? And B, more importantly, why does it matter more than the one that they have posited as the thing that they believe is the most important in the debate? And so when Lewis says it depends, he's entirely right. It depends on the context for what is being argued for and what things you need a judge to believe in order to win your arguments, as opposed to things that you can get away with not spending time on and still win the debate for other reasons.
So we've come to the conclusion of this session. We hope you've enjoyed. I think the takeaway, really, the take-home is a couple of things. First, become compliant. Find rules of just like from meeting people and meeting people facilitates the eventual debate outcome. But also, I think, or at least from a personal point of view, the biggest take-home is working with your partner in a manner that works for you, that is effective, and provides that structural support and sort of chemistry is crucial to the success. As we heard from both speakers, they did really well with their best friends. I think that amplifies the need for a personal relationship that underpins the success of the dynamics of the team that have time. When you're high strung with this stress and tension, you'll only be able to do it together if you know each other very well, you know how to moderate sort of each other's tendencies. So I think all in all, it's about, like you said, it's not being comfortable, it's about having fun, it's about communicating with each other. But at the end of the day, it's also about, I guess, not being over obsessed with power and sort of just identifying what really becomes relevant. And I think that personally, we're just understanding the bigger work with that. Is there anything Lewis or Josh would like to add to this?
I think. Yeah, sorry. I think that was great, a great summary. I think one thing we maybe could have touched on, or a question maybe that would have been asked is sort of, it's just about keeping sort of sane. And some people like to after the debate walk off, listen to their iPods, and just focus on listening to their music. Some people like to talk about the debate, deconstruct it. Do whatever works for you, but don't feel compelled to do whatever else is doing. And also, Josh and I are happy to talk to you afterwards or across the tournament about, debating in general, or any advice or tips or whatever. So please feel free to speak to us if you want to.
So I guess two final thoughts. The first is don't let the experience pass you by. Everybody only gets to go to a limited number of worlds in their lives, and these experiences are pretty unparalleled in my mind. QnA is but I would say don't overlook the fact that this is an incredible place to be. And the second would be on the theme of sanity. Take care of yourself, right? Don't stay up to all hours and expect that you can go on 3 hours of sleep doing 3 rounds a day for several days. You can't. And so make sure that you're in a place where you can take advantage of everything that's in front of you, both socially and politically. And to echo what Lewis said, happy to talk to anybody about worlds or about anything else specifically.
Throughout the example, just remember that this was the personal opinion and personal experiences of former world champions. It is then up to you to extrapolate, extract, and create your personal preferences and personal choices that works for you. So clearly we saw the same things that Lewis and Josh agreed on, but they also said the things they didn't do. So at the end of the day, it's a matter of what you feel works for you and your teammate, but also taking into consideration the essential aspects of today. Once again, thank you so much for being here. If you have any questions, Lewis and Josh will be here. Thank you so much for your work. Thank you.